Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everyone, welcome to day three of Timely Reminders. Welcome to another session of lunch live stream this Ramadan, inshallah. So, the purpose of this lunch live stream is to simply pen ourselves spiritually because, as most of us are fasting, we may not be able to eat or spend our lunchtime consuming food. Right, so inshallah today we can consume for a bit, consume spiritual content that inshallah can benefit our spiritual aspect. Okay, so Alhamdulillah for today, inshallah, as usual, we're going live on both Instagram as well as our Facebook page, inshallah. So whichever that you are coming from, hope you are comfortable, and thank you so much for joining our lunch live stream today. Okay, so if you have anything to comment or if you have anything to ask, feel free to drop it in the comments section. And yeah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's begin today. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So as we all come to know, inshallah, in the next few days throughout this first week of our timely reminders, we are actually focusing on the whole theme of the person of dunya versus the person of iman, whether we are a person of dunya or we are a person of iman or a person of faith. So for the past few days, alhamdulillah, for the past 2 days, yes, we have actually covered two aspects or two ways as to how we are able to differentiate these two groups of people. But then again, as mentioned, it's for us to reflect on ourselves, not for us to, go around and then label people and then, say, okay, they are the people of dunya, they are the people of iman. But it's more of how we can work towards betterment, inshallah. Okay, so inshallah today will be the third way or the third aspect in which that we can see or identify or differentiate between the people of the dunya and of course the people of iman. And for today we are specifically focusing on time. Okay, and time is something that is very close to all of us because we all experience time. And as we have come to know about the nature of time itself, time is something that once it has passed, we are not able to gain it back again. All right. And when we talk about time, the most familiar verses of the Quran or the most familiar surah of the Quran would be where Allah mentions, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr," right? For indeed, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sweat by time, right? By time, and Allah mentions, indeed, mankind is in loss. So we are constantly, continuously going through this phase or this life of losing. Every single day it's a loss, except for those who practice the methods that Allah mentions in the subsequent verse, right? إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Except for those who believe, those who have done righteous deeds, those who advise one another to the truth, and those who advise one another to patience, inshallah. Okay, so that will be the general note or the general outlook to time. And when we follow those guidelines, those steps that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us with, inshallah, we will be on the path towards the people who are not constantly in loss in terms of their time, right? Always gaining, always benefiting from the blessings of time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. But if we want to bring that aspect back to the whole idea of the person of dunya, person of iman with regards to Ramadan itself, the first group of people, i.e., the person or the people of dunya in Ramadan, for them it will be more of, oh, okay, I'm fasting, I don't have the energy, I don't feel like I want to do anything, so the next thing for me to do is to just sleep. I want to sleep my time away so that Ramadan can progress quicker, so that the next moment I know it's already iftar. Okay, so that will be the usual approach to that. But I'm not saying that it is wrong to sleep in Ramadan. Of course, sleeping can become a worship. And inshallah, in a bit, I can share with you a little bit of how, as the people of Ramadan, the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we are fulfilling this whole experience of Ramadan, how we can actually achieve a good sleep, okay, in the month of Ramadan. So they look at sleep, and they would always look at the activities that they can do to allow time to pass quickly. Okay, one of it would be sleep, another portion would be maybe through the daily activities, but that really is their priority. That really is their aim. I'm aiming to just make sure that time passes by quickly. Okay, regardless of whatever activity that they want to do, inshallah. And you know, speaking of which, okay, it is only natural for us to feel that way or to do that way because we are experiencing, not just thirst, but we are also experiencing hunger. And of course, we would all want to quench, that thirst, and we want to feel our hunger. But, throughout the past 11 months of the year, we have been feeding our bodies with a lot of food, with a lot of drinks, right? But as we continue to feed our bodies, we forget to remember that it is equally important for us to feed our souls as well. And sometimes, for the past 11 months, we may have forgotten to do that. So this is, mashallah, in the mercy and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has provided us with Ramadan so that we can intentionally, purposefully, mindfully feed our souls. The soul that has been, left untouched or left unfed, before Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, throughout the 11 months. And of course, the number one food for the soul would be the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that could happen through our worship, everything that reminds us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reciting the Quran, doing things that brings us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be it through work, through school, through our house chores, our commitments at home, our commitments with our families. These are the ways in which that when we make it as a point for us to remember Allah in the process, then that can be our food for the soul, inshallah. Okay, but of course, in Ramadan, we want to be a little bit more mindful in that sense. Now, I mentioned a bit about sleeping earlier, right? About this whole ideal of the sleeping quality. And I think this is something that a lot of us struggle with because we feel like, I need to wake up, a little bit earlier for sahur, right? For my pre-dawn meal. I need to wake up for tahajjud, the night prayer. And then after that, I need to go to work, I need to go to school. And this is where we start to struggle with having good sleep. Okay, so when it comes to sleep, there are basically two approaches. Like one will be the sleep in terms of quantity, another one will be sleep in terms of quality. So in terms of quantity, will be okay. Usually outside of Ramadan, perhaps you will be sleeping at about 6 to 8 to 10 hours. But now when Ramadan comes in, we are lacking in terms of the quantity of our sleep. So basically what we can do, okay, is that as much as during Ramadan we are not able to get that block of sleep as we used to have outside of Ramadan, the approach would be we can try to make up for the lost nighttime sleep whenever that is possible. Right? So, for example, perhaps there are some pockets of time in the day that we can take a short nap, that we can find, just a quiet place for us to perform this power nap, then that is enough, inshallah. But of course, the intention would be so that I can be much more awake, so that I can be much more alert, that I can worship better, that I can remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better and function better throughout the days in Ramadan and the nights in Ramadan. Okay, so this is where intention, it goes back to intention. Intention is very, very important. And of course, when we talk about quantity, of course, quality will be much more important. Lah. So in terms of quality, sometimes we may even, have a lot of hours to sleep, but our sleep quality is not that good. So that is where sometimes we struggle with that little sleep. And even if, we think about our past scholars, how they manage to go through their days with minimal sleep. And that is for the fact that their sleep is full of quality. So one of the things that you might want to consider in terms of making your sleep to be a quality sleep will include perhaps sleeping in a quiet and dark environment. Ensure that you take care of your diet properly because your diet would affect your sleep, right? And perhaps today we are constantly engaging with a lot of electronical devices, so we might want to consider to check back on our sleep hygiene. Maybe sometimes we bring our devices to bed, right? Or maybe the last thing that we look at will be the screens. So these are the things that would affect the quality of our sleep. So you might want to look at those areas, inshallah, to help us to have a better quality sleep, inshallah. Okay, so that would be in terms of the people of the dunya. Okay, a little bit about that. But then again, it's for us to just reflect on ourselves and see how we can work better towards becoming a better believer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the next part we want to look at would be the second group of people, would be the people of Iman or the people of faith. How are they in Ramadan in terms of their time? Okay, so as much as they are going through their days in Ramadan, yes, they fulfill their fasting, yes, they take care of the quality of their fasting, but also at the same time, they would constantly look at how they can connect better with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all of the things that they can do. Okay, and you know, as we have come to know, mashallah, Ramadan is a month where it is full of mercy, right? Full of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are given, that liberty to do as much worship without having the disturbances of the shaitan, right? The disturbances of our enemies. But then again, as much as we see Ramadan as a manner or as a medium in which our Ramadan helps us to increase in terms of spirituality, but it actually shows us that we are capable of doing more worship, of doing more of the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as compared to outside of the month of Ramadan. Because if you were to think about it, right, outside of Ramadan, we still have work, we still have school, we still have a ton of things to do. And it's the same like in Ramadan. It's just that in Ramadan, we have this additional factor of fasting. But why is it in Ramadan, we are able to do more worship? We are able to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more, right? Apart from Allah, giving His mercy and helping us, and restraining the shaitan and whatnot. But it shows us that, mashallah, we have this immense capability of doing more, of serving more towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is through this month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us that, hey, you are actually capable. You see, you are able to do this in Ramadan. Inshallah, outside of Ramadan, you can pick up some of these good habits that you have cultivated, inshallah, and make it something that is consistent. Okay, and apart from that, with regards to the people of Iman, the people of faith, they would always want to work towards making their Ramadan a productive Ramadan. Okay, and when we talk about productive, right? Productive is in terms of quality and in terms of efficiency. Productive is not in being busy. Sometimes you feel that you are so busy in Ramadan, you are so busy in your day to day, so you feel that you are productive. But actually, that's not productive. You can be doing little, but that little is efficient and you get things done, then that is productivity. Okay, so of course, this whole productivity thing is a whole entire separate topic. But then again, we want to highlight that for the people of faith or for the people of Iman, they will constantly make their time, their day, their night in the month of Ramadan to make it as a form of connection with the Quran, to fast earnestly and to perform the night prayer, and to see how they're able to make their daily activities as a means of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so basically to this part, there are two approaches to it. So one approach would be, we might want to consider to supplement our activities with little forms of worship. So for example, when we are going to work, we listen to the Quran, right? Maybe usually before this we listen to other things, so we change up, we switch out our playlist to something that helps us remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better. Maybe outside of Ramadan, we deal with a lot of people, and then we struggle with socializing, right? Or dealing with people on a daily basis. So perhaps this Ramadan, every time we deal with a person, every time a struggle or a problem arises, we change it to a form of dua. Right, so instead of stressing about other people, then we make dua for other people. Right, we go through a certain difficulty, we make dua. We make dua to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to make it easy for us. So these are means in which that we can supplement, our daily, as we do all of our activities and all of our duties and responsibilities, to shift it to remembering Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and make it a form of worship. Okay, but in case, for some of us, we might struggle to do that, then we might want to take another approach. So another approach would be to have this block of time to purposefully focus, remember Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, like right now, for example, our lunchtime, right? Our lunch break. So usually for lunch break, we will be eating, but because we are fasting, so we're not eating at this moment in time. So we take this lunch break. For example, we may have 1 hour to 2 hours lunch break. So we tell ourselves, okay, I don't want to do anything else. All right, I want to put everything aside, and I just really want to take this portion to just remember Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And we do that consistently. We do that every single day, inshallah. And that is greater, than doing so much in one day. But then again, we would, suffer burnout at the end of it, and then we don't feel motivated to do more the next day. Okay, so yeah, for that matter. And if I could share with you one of the narrations of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which is narrated in At-Tirmizi with a good chain of narrators. So this is where Anas radiallahu an narrated that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever prays the Fajr prayer in congregation and then he remains sitting mentioning Allah until the sun rises, and then he prays 2 rak'ahs, will receive the reward of one Hajj and one Umrah, complete, complete, complete. So see, one of the things that we can practice, in doing that block of time, it could also be after we perform our Fajr prayers. So we perform our pre-dawn meal, and then we perform our Fajr prayers, and then we take a block of time. It could be as simple as 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whichever time that you have to just purposefully remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to its fullest. Because I understand when we continue to tread through our day, we may struggle to do that, right? Apart from our lunch breaks lah. So perhaps those are the blocks of time that you wanna set aside to really purposefully remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. But also on that note, I would also like to remind ourselves and all of us, yes, we want to be enthusiastic in the month of Ramadan. Yes, we want to be the people of Iman, the people of faith. But at the end of the day, let us not forget the narration of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he reminded us, right, where it is from Sunan Abi Dawud, where he reminded us that our bodies have a right over us, right? So we need to give our body its due right. So you know there were companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam during the time of the Prophet, whereby they would fast, without breaking their fast. They would pray all night without sleeping. They would constantly do more of the quantity of worship without taking care of themselves. But in order for us to function better as believers, as people who fast, through the months of Ramadan, we need to take care of ourselves, because if we are sick, if we are going through a certain bodily health difficulty, then how are we able to be productive, right? How are we able to remember Allah much more efficiently? Okay. But for those of you, if you are going through any form of sickness right now, or if you are diagnosed with any form of illness, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you through the journey. But let us take this, Ramadan to be a means for us to take care of ourselves better, inshallah. As much as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aiding us and helping us with healing ourselves, healing our spirituality. But let us not forget to heal, our bodies, and take care of our bodies, for us to eat well, for us to sleep well, so that we can worship better, and so that we can become the people of Iman and the people of faith, inshallah. Okay, so yeah, I believe that that is all for today's. And I hope that today's short lunch live stream has benefited you, inshallah. And inshallah, this lunch live stream will continue to happen every single day, almost every single day, from 12:45 to about 1 plus, in hopes that it can help to supplement you throughout your Ramadan days, inshallah. And on behalf of Al Misbah Academy, please feel free to support Al Misbah Academy through their programs, or if you like to contribute for any of the classes or sessions, then you can visit www.almisbahacademy.com, and you can find everything there, inshallah. Okay, so yeah, I shall see you tomorrow, inshallah, for the next lunch live stream. We will still be talking about the people of Dunya and the people of Iman, but we will be looking at a different aspect of it for tomorrow, inshallah. All right, so take care, everyone. It's raining here, raining very very heavily. If it's raining wherever you're at right now, please remember to make lots of dua, and especially the dua of the people who fast are amongst the duas that will reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will be fulfilled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. So make dua to your heart's content, and remember to make dua for me, make dua for Al Misbah Academy, and make dua for all of the people in the world, inshallah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for your kind likes, hearts, comments, waves. Thank you so much, and I shall see you tomorrow. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.